Hello everyone and welcome to Retail Archaeology. Today we'll be taking a look at the Scottsdale Seville in Scottsdale, Arizona. The Scottsdale Seville is kind of a luxury mini mall, and as you can see from the blank signs here, it's not really doing that well. Let's take a look at the map so we can get an idea of the size of this place and how it's laid out. And it's made up of two parts. There's a courtyard area, and then there's kind of a strip mall type thing that runs off to the side. And that strip mall part is actually 2 floors. Mark and I did a live stream from here a little under a year ago, and we thought it would be a good idea to come back and see how the place was doing, and unfortunately more storefronts have closed. But before we continue on with the tour, let's take a moment to hear a word about this episode's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes covering dozens of creative and entrepreneurial skills, and premium membership gives you unlimited access so you can join the classes and communities that are just right for you. Skillshare is a fantastic place to fuel your curiosity, creativity, or even your career. Personally, I've been taking cooking classes on here, as well as classes to help me improve the production of my YouTube videos. Skillshare is also an incredibly affordable way to fuel your curiosity and creativity, especially when you compare it to pricey in-person classes and workshops. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month. Because Skillshare is sponsoring this video, you can sign up with the link in the description below and get a 2-month free trial. Now let's continue with our tour of the Scottsdale Seville. We'll start off by taking a look at the courtyard area, and this is where there are a lot of vacancies, although there are some things still open, like that Destiny's Bride, which is a by appointment only bridal shop. Even though this courtyard is outside, thankfully they've provided plenty of shade, and there's a lot of tables and chairs to sit and relax with a cup of coffee and check out the luxury stores if there were any here to check out. And we got a good chuckle out of this. The leasing and management office is for lease? What does that mean? The courtyard itself though is very pretty. There's lots of greenery and flowers around, and it's very well maintained. It's nice and clean. But there's really just not a lot of shops to peruse. As we'll see throughout the video, there were quite a few restaurants and boutiques in here, but they're all gone now. It was pretty shocking to see this place this devoid of people on a weekend afternoon. Now, in the center of the courtyard, there's a really nice little seating area, and it's got a small fountain in the middle of it that's actually still running. Here's a closer look at the fountain, and it is pretty small, but it does provide the comforting sounds of babbling water throughout the courtyard. Unfortunately, I can't let you hear that because they were also playing light jazz music throughout the courtyard, and I don't want this video to get taken down by a copyright strike. I think it's time for a little bit of the old Retail Archaeology fountain cam. Let's take a closer look inside. Those little glass stones that you're seeing are actually from a fire pit from one of the nearby empty restaurants. It looks like people have thrown some of them into the fountain. We filmed this back in May, and it was already pretty hot outside, and I was very tempted to dunk my head into this fountain. Kind of like the way the debris kind of slowly floats back and forth. I also had an idea to just kind of move the camera through the fountain, and this really reminds me of the Death Star trench run from Star Wars, just underwater. We can see more of the glass stones from the fire pit there. Alright, let's move on and take a look at some of the branches of the courtyard. As you can see, there's a lot of for lease signs around here. This place was actually built in 1990, which makes it 29 years old, but I think it looks pretty good for that age. It doesn't look 29 years old to me. Even though this place is struggling, they seem to be doing a really good job maintaining it, and I'm assuming that's because they're just trying to lure back some of that luxury business here. I'm gonna be honest, the interior of the store looks pretty pretentious. This property was actually just recently sold in 2016 for $34 million, and it was purchased by Whitestone REIT. And that seems like quite a bit of money for a place like this that's only 90,000 square feet, especially when malls lately have been selling for just a few $1,000,000. I think Fiesta Mall sold for something like $6.5 million. So that's quite a bit of money per square foot. Here's another look into that closed storefront, and You see what I mean? That just looks really gaudy and pretentious. Apparently this place was called Nove, and looking it up on Google, it looks like they were a trendy women's apparel boutique carrying chic designer styles and footwear. I'm sure stuff in here was a fortune. I also have no idea if I'm actually pronouncing that store name correctly, but apparently in Italian it means 9. I wonder how long this place was here. I also have no idea when it closed. The last review on Google was from about 2 years ago. Let's head back down towards the center of the courtyard and take a look at some more of the closed storefronts. And I have to say, it's kind of weird to see a place this empty look this nice. Normally when Mark and I take a look at places this empty, they're starting to fall into disrepair, but I really can't complain at all about the condition of this place. It's kind of interesting to walk through here because it is really nice and inviting, but it's also definitely throwing off that dead mall vibe. This looks like it was some sort of a restaurant or a cafe or something, and again, it would be really nice to be able to get a cup of coffee and a muffin from one of these places and hang out by that fountain, you know, as long as it's nice outside. Summer's a little bit of a different story, but there's all that shade and everything, and this area does feel much cooler than like the outside parking lot area. Something that's a little bit different about this place is normally when we look at these dying shopping centers and plazas, the empty storefronts are usually gutted, but here they're all in really nice shape. It looks like they've just closed up for the night and threw the chairs up on the tables and they plan on coming back tomorrow. It doesn't seem like it would be hard at all for businesses to move in here and start up again. Maybe this was some kind of wine bar or something. I see some wine glasses there and stuff. Now here's something that's actually open. That's a sushi place there, but of course we didn't see anybody coming or going from there. A lot of the commentary I read states things like, even though malls are dying and retail chains are struggling, that luxury retail is still a bright spot, but I'm wondering if plazas like this are signifying a shift in luxury retail as well. I'm also very surprised that this place is as empty as it is because there's luxury condos that have nice walking access to this where all these restaurants and things were. And there's also the very busy McCormick-Stillman Railroad Park right across the street from this place. Man, even the back of this place is very, very clean. This might be the cleanest I've seen the back of a shopping center be. Here's another little fountain that this plaza has, and unfortunately it doesn't look like it's running anymore. It was working when we did the live stream here about 10 months ago. One of the things that is actually pretty busy here is the Wildflower Bread Company. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any footage of it because it was so busy. There were tons of people sitting outside, and I just didn't want people to feel weird that some dude was filming them. From here, though, we can see the rest of the shopping center. And something interesting we found were these stairs that go up to the second floor, but they don't actually lead to any storefronts or anything like that. It's just kind of a weird storage area. There's the bird crap. It wouldn't be a dead shopping center without bird crap being somewhere. And I'm guessing that this area isn't as well maintained and cleaned up because it doesn't actually go up to any storefronts. From up here, though, we can get a sense of how empty the parking lot is. Man, there's a lot of bird crap and stuff all over the place. But this is what I was talking about. This just seems to be like some sort of weird storage area. There's a bunch of old outdoor furniture back here and old wine boxes. And it doesn't look like any of this has been used in a while. There's a pretty thick layer of dust on everything. There was also cobwebs all over the place. Through this neat little window, though, we can get a look at some of the luxury condos that surround the place. Back downstairs, though, we can see more for lease signs. There seems to be quite a bit of restaurant and food stuff in this plaza, or at least there was. I'm not sure what this was. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot of label scar around to identify these places. Now here's a business that actually appears to be open, however they were closed on the weekends. This is probably the classiest looking dry cleaning place I've ever seen. Look at all that wood. But moving on, we can see right next door to the empty restaurant we just looked at is another empty eating establishment. But again, not gutted. It looks really nice in there. It looks like they just closed up shop for the day. That metal star sculpture caught my eye because we actually used to have the same one in our house years ago. Now here's an elevator that provides access to an actual business that's up on the second floor, and it's a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Which, if you're not familiar with Ruth's Chris Steakhouses, they're very expensive steak places. But we'll go take a look at it real quick. So this is the upstairs patio for the Ruth's Chris. And they weren't open for dinner yet, they were just kind of setting things up and getting ready. And I've never actually been to one of these because the prices just scare me off. But this looks like it would be a nice place to eat. They've got a fireplace there, although it's too hot for that this time of year. Up here though, we can get another good look at the parking lot, and you can see just how empty it is. Steak places just usually aren't real high up on the list of restaurants I want to go to because I'm never as happy with the steak from a restaurant as I am from a good steak that I just bring home and grill myself. If you follow me on Instagram, I tend to post a lot of pictures of the meat that I grill. But here's a look inside the actual place, and wow, is that fancy looking. Let's take a trip back downstairs now and check out the rest of the Scottsdale Seville. There's these set of stairs here, which these just come down from the patio of the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Now over here is the first gutted storefront that we noticed. I don't know what this was because, again, unfortunately there just was no label scar on the empty storefronts for the most part, but this place looks much bigger than a lot of the other storefronts here. Even though it's gutted though, it still looks nice and clean. They are in the process of building a Ritz-Carlton right across the street from here, so I'd be interested to see if that helps drive more business into the plaza. We'll just have to wait and see. But I think this might be the nicest dead shopping center or plaza or whatever you want to call it I've ever walked through before. It doesn't look like it would be really hard for businesses to move back into these empty storefronts. I'm sure the rent here is a fortune though, seeing as somebody just spent $34 million on this place. That seems like a lot of money for a place this size when I've seen full-size malls sell for a lot less than that. This looks like it might have been some sort of offices here. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this tour of the Scottsdale Seville. As always everyone, thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this episode of Retail Archaeology. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and also make sure to click the notification bell because that's a thing you have to do now to get notified when I upload new videos. And also make sure to follow at the social media links down there because that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the channel.